welcome to Rotten Reviews, and today I'm going to be reviewing a movie that just came out on Shudder today, the 2021 movie Slapface. Okay, so, cards on the table, total honesty. I picked this movie because the title and the poster seemed a bit ridiculous. So imagine my surprise when I finished watching it and I realized that I had just seen something that was extremely thoughtful, character-driven, and beautifully made. Written and directed by 𝗘𝗾𝘂𝗶𝗽𝗺𝗺, this was an idea that he had that started out as a short film and now has been turned into a full-length motion picture. And primarily in this movie, we focus on the characters of Lucas and Tom, played by August Maturdo and Mike Manning respectively, as two brothers that are kind of on their own. Their parents had both died, and Tom is not necessarily doing as well as he can in raising Lucas, but more doing as well as he can within the confines of how much effort he's willing to put in. They're both hurting in their own ways. Tom is retreating into work and alcohol and his own selfish desires, while at the same time clearly having love for Lucas. It seems like he has more trouble shifting away from the big brother aspect of his personality and more into a parental figure, a responsibility that he seems neither willing nor able to accept. Meanwhile, Lucas is struggling in his own right. He's getting bullied, there's all sorts of different stuff happening there, and he's just in pain. And to kind of exercise that pain, he and his brother play Slapface, where they basically just slap each other across the face, taking rounds in which to do so. It generally gets described as something that's just between the two of them to kind of deal with their internal pain on an external level that they can kind of identify with, understand, and embrace together. It's not necessarily the healthiest outlet in the world, but it is an outlet. And where this movie really picks up its pace and its plot is when Lucas gets coerced into investigating an abandoned building and therein finding a witch of local lore. Now, where this could easily turn into a kid gets scared of a monster who then haunts him kind of movie, instead this movie takes a much more complex turn as Lucas and this witch find themselves in an unspoken bond of weird friendship. Now, a lot of the more obscure and indie movies that I review, I would say aren't even low budget. A lot of them are no budget, and I would say that this finds itself more comfortably in the low budget aspect. This does have a really decent feel to it. The camera work was great. A lot of things kind of indicate that there was some money put behind this, but at the same time, this does feel a bit small and restrictive and clearly doesn't have bottomless coffers. But I think that actually kind of works to the movie's benefit. For all the odd and interesting things that are happening in this film, I find that its focus is right where it needs to be, and that is on its characters. Even taking the concept of why I picked this movie expecting a bit of ridiculousness and putting that to the side, I would say that this movie succeeds in doing something repeatedly that I didn't see coming, and that was, it surprised me. Its method of storytelling of what happens between these two brothers, the external elements of internal pain, all sorts of different things continually managed to surprise me. And the way that the storyline unfolded completely circumvented any normal plotline tropes that every other movie would tend to follow. But even taking away the frankly fascinating storytelling methods that this movie offered, being a character-driven story, this movie would have completely fallen flat had it not been for the wonderful performances of the actors involved. And that starts at the principal and main characters and goes all the way through to all of the secondary performances as well. There wasn't anybody that put in less than 100% in this film, and I was honestly flabbergasted. There seems to be a central theme that happens throughout this movie of bullying. Well-intentioned amongst family members, but still not entirely healthy, and then bullying from people that are normally well-meaning and benign, but are backed into a corner with peer pressure, and then lay it on, and then just assholes themselves. And by looking at all those aspects of bullying with an adult and deft hand, it provided a film that I very deeply resonated with, and in one moment it would elevate my spirit, and in the next it would break my heart, all the while having me truly, wonderfully puzzled about the reality of what was actually going on. And so much to my surprise, after kicking on a movie called Slapface, I find myself in a position of giving it a full blanket recommendation. This is a fantastic movie with great characters supported by magnificent acting performances. There are some trigger warnings that I will go ahead and offer here, most notably bullying, mild levels of child abuse, murder, and animal harm. Everybody has their own level of sensitivities, and that is perfectly fine. But if this still sounds like the movie for you, I do highly recommend it. It is currently available on Shudder. That should about do it for this review. I do thank you for joining me here today. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please click like and subscribe. And remember, next time you want to watch a horror movie, first make sure that it's good and rotted.